Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to the third session of the faculty organized by Teacher Education, PERINTHALMANNA and KBNU in collaboration with FAROOK Training College, KOZHIKODE and MES PILLAI College of Education and Research, CHEMBUR. So on this session, we are having an eminent resource person, Dr.Sindhya V. She has been awarded as the best teacher educator in 2019. That is the most prestigious national award instituted by NCTE. She secured her PhD in education from MS University, Tirunelveli in the year 2006 and MPhil in the year 2000 from MS University. She is a triple postgraduate in chemistry, education, and applied psychology. She had also qualified NET by UGC in 2 consecutive years in 1993 and 1994. She is the winner of Government of India National Merit Scholarship during her school education. And she is presently working as the assistant professor in the Department of Education, one of the prestigious departments of education in the state Kerala. Today we are lucky to have Dr. Sindhya V. Ma'am as the resource person on this faculty education faculty enrichment program conducted in the collaboration of 4 institutions and having more than 350 participants. She will be discussing and enriching us on the topic design of methodology design of paper publications or academic publications. With this short note, I would like to invite Dr. Sindhya V to this faculty enrichment program. Welcome to this program, ma'am. Over to you. You are the co-host of this meeting and you can control. And I also request all the participants not to unmute your microphone unnecessarily. When you have a point to discuss or share with the participants or with the resource persons, you may always welcome. You can unmute and without wasting time, you can discuss or share the points. Thank you very much. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Nasir Ali, for inviting me to share some of my ideas regarding the paper publication. So thank you for your introduction. And actually, I appreciate your effort in bringing these kinds of platforms to a large audience. I came to know that more than 300 participants are there. So it's a welcome move on the part of Dr. Nasir Ali and his team. So congratulations for that. And today I am assigned on the topic of latest trends in designing methodology for a research paper. So we are on the move for researching, publishing, and the publication is an essential component of our professional growth. That is why this topic is being significant. So the publication of our research work that is important for our professional growth also. And regarding the current scenario, many opportunities are available for us to undertake research in many ways, in offline as well as in online mode. We can conduct researches. And similarly, we are exposed to different kinds of researchers, different tools and techniques which are available to all of us. And the latest technology also helps to professionally enrich our research process as well as the publication process. So that is part of the journey that we are moving to our professional enrichment programs. That is why the professional growth programs are becoming relevant in this context. So we are familiar that academic research is undergoing many changes during the last 10 years due to the vast influence of technology. So technology provides huge data, and when data is more, there may be some challenges also. So how we can address these issues while preparing a paper, that is the main focus of this session. And let me share my PowerPoint. Is it visible, Dr. Nasir Ali?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So first of all, let me explain what is the need for publication, what is the need for doing research as part of our professional program and professional life. Then what kind of research papers we have to concentrate, and how the research paper is being prepared step by step. That is, what are the various steps that is followed in different journals and different publication authorities. So what kind of researches we can undertake during our course, and what are the latest trends. So this is the different points that I am going to share today. And first of all, let me discuss why we have to publish. So publication is part of the research. Our research is complete only when we publish the results. So otherwise it will not be available to the academic community. So we have to publish the results of our research work to the academic community, and so that can add the existing knowledge also. So this is a knowledge creation, where whatever we do in our research is a knowledge creation. So that must be available to the large academic community, so that it can be another data source also. So we have to publish our research. That is why the publication is very important, and it opens doors for funding and employment also. So if a result is better accepted, many funding agencies may be open for us, so that it can be our further growth. Also, it is helping, the publication is helping a researcher. So as a part of the teacher's work, we can publish our own action research works and other theoretical contributions, articles, etc., so that it can be a professionally growing activity also. So research will become complete only when it is to be published. So that is why publication is important. And when we are intending to publish a paper, we have to go through what are the types of papers that we are going to publish, or what are the types of available resources that we can share our research work. So that is to be bear in mind while we are intending to publish a paper. And what is the purpose of research? So research, you all know, you are all teachers, and you all know how research helps a person. So it is a method of discovery is being taught to us. So research teaches methods of discovery. We are able to discover new facts. For example, if we are trying to explore the details of innovative practices in teaching, we can find more and more methods and more approaches which are available through our data source database. So we can discover what are the available methods, and from that it can be an intuitive assumption, so that the teacher can discover other methods or innovate new methods in his course of time. And it is emphasizing the investigative skills. So a teacher should be an investigator. He should be an investigator with respect to different aspects of his life. So maybe with respect to student problems, maybe with respect to academic issues, maybe with respect to the administrative processes. So these kinds of research helps a person to investigate more on different aspects of our teaching learning process and administrative experience. And that is why research is becoming important. And research develops inquiry-based techniques. So it is a process of inquiry. We are searching, it's a searching process. So when we search something, there is a process of inquiry is being developed. So inquiry-based techniques can be developed through research, and it builds career skills. That is obviously clear that it expands our knowledge, it expands our domain of publication, it expands our professional career, and it teaches critical thinking, because we are analyzing different kinds of research works. When we undergo a research process, we have to undertake review. So when we make a clear analysis of the existing studies that are conducted in our area or our field of research, we are able to think critically whether these are right or wrong, what are the merits and defects. So these kinds of thinking capacity is enhancing, and it is a logical connection. Whenever we research and whenever report, there must be a logical sequence of explanation and logical connection. Any disturbance, necessarily? Is it audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible now. I have some disturbance were there. I just muted them.
So research is essential because of these components, and it helps to grow professionally. A teacher is able to grow professionally through the research process. And whenever we prepare a research paper, it demonstrates the skill of the researcher. So it demonstrates the skills of the researcher who is undertaking the process. So the research skills, whatever research skill an investigator possesses, if he is highly skilled, his quality of research will be more. So it exposes, or it explains, or it demonstrates the research skills of an investigator, and it demonstrates the ability to think critically about a topic and sources necessary, and study how we can limit a topic. So undertaking research and preparing a research report and preparing a research paper based on that is a complex task, and it involves so many skills. So those skills are being demonstrated while we prepare the research paper. That is the importance of preparing research papers. And we have to combine information and ideas into a focused and supporting argument. So we are collecting more information, more data, and more ideas. So based on the collected information, we have to focus into our own idea based on the collected information, focusing on our topic. What is our topic of interest? And to that topic, we have to focus the ideas we are collecting. So it is a form of thinking also. So the capacity to combine information and to focus thinking towards our topic is also demonstrated through a research paper. And it is a literary skill of a researcher also, how stylish, how correct a person is writing a research paper. So writing a research paper is demonstrating the literary skills or writing skills of a person, and it shows the ability to document what are the resources available to us and how it can be utilized properly. So these kinds of skills are required for preparing a research paper, and a research paper surely demonstrates. When we read a research paper, it is being demonstrated, all these skills are being demonstrated. So any research paper, when you prepare, it is a written document. And that written document, when it is published, it is available to many persons. And whenever a person is reading that work, it is revealing your skill to explain all these matters clearly and concisely. So that is why while preparing research paper, we have to do a lot of reading and lot of related literature work we have to undertake before preparing a research paper. That is one important component that we have to consider while making a research paper. Then what is a research paper? So we are familiar with different kinds of academic writing. That can be a review, that can be a document, that can be a research article, that can be a genuine research, original research paper. So different kinds of academic writing is there. So this is also a form of academic writing that provides an in-depth analysis, evaluation, or interpretation of a single topic based on empirical evidence. So empirical research is being undertaken. We have to collect in-depth data, and we have to undertake in-depth analysis, and we have to evaluate the data which is available and interpretations. All these are combined or collectively utilized in preparing a research paper. That is why while preparing a research paper, we have to be very cautious how we are doing the research, how we are interpreting the result, how we are focusing to our area of research, and how it is evaluated by another person, because it is reading by another person. So a research paper demonstrate all these qualities, and the academic writing should be an in-depth analysis of our own topic. And typically many journal publishers demand different kinds of criteria, or they demand different types of papers or research articles. So they usually it runs around 4,000 to 6,000 words, and there are some short purpose even 2,000 words, and long purpose 10,000 words. So that is as demanded by the publisher. So whenever we search a journal, for example, when we search an LCVA journal internationally, there are some other guidelines. So what is the guideline an author has to follow? What is the word limit? What is the style we have to follow? And what is the font we have to use? And what ethical concerns we have to maintain while preparing a research paper. So all these must be depending on the nature of the journal that we are going to publish. But basically, we can say that it is around 6,000, 7,000 words. That is a common accepted form of research paper. So when you intend to prepare a research paper, when you select a paper or select a theme, select a topic, it must be of your own personal interest, because your interest shows the in-depth involvement in the research process. When the researcher is involved in the research process only, that research will be qualitatively an enriched product. A better product will be emerged from the research. So a topic of personal interest must be selected while preparing, while engaging in any kind of research. After research only, you have to make the paper. So paper must be, when you are intending to write a paper, you can select your own area of interest. So after area of interest, we have to undergo a wide reading. So if you are selecting some academic issues or some academic input required in the research process, so you have to read all the available resources regarding that topic. So there are some keywords in the topic. You have to search with respect to that keywords. So in the present context, you are open to every available resources, online resources are there. So you can undertake wide reading regarding the topic of your own personal interest. And every idea must be supported by collective evidence. So if you have an idea, that idea must be supported by evidence. Evidence means we have to collect data. So data must be supported by every research paper. So that is why we say it is a research paper. Otherwise, we can say it is an article only, a theoretical paper only. There also we need data, but that kind of data is different. So the evidence-based paper or the evidence-based activity is known as the preparing a research paper. So it grows from investigation, and it should have a purpose, and it develops analysis of a variety of topics. So when we concentrate on a single theme, we have to read different topics, and different topics we have to analyze, so that we can focus, narrow down our topic to a single concept for preparing a research paper. And there may be different types of research papers. And first one is original research paper. That is, we have to explain all the details of a research process from the beginning to the end. What is the paper dealing with, and what methods we have selected, what tools we have used, and what kind of results we obtained, and what results it indicate with respect to the previous researches, and how it is applicable to our educational context, and to what extent it is futuristic. So all the processes are done by your own initial effort, your own effort. So that is why it is an original research paper. You are originally conducting a research and reporting it as a research paper. So there is a format for this original research paper. Usually there are certain steps to be followed while preparing an original research paper, that is IMRAD format. IMRAD means it is there must be an introduction, there must be an explanation of the different methods you have used, and results, what is the result obtained, and the discussion, followed by the discussion of result, how the result is enriching the academia, or enriching the knowledge and improving the knowledge construction, and it is what is implied out of our research. So this structure is followed in the case of an original research paper. And some journals demand some additional requirements, or almost all journals require some additional requirements like abstract, keywords, acknowledgement, and references. So it must be supported by an abstract, that is a summary of your research and the relevant keywords. And then whoever is involved in the research process, directly or indirectly, you have to acknowledge, and the proper references. So this is the general structure of an original research paper. And another kind of research paper is rapid communication or letter. So this is also a form of academic writing, that is it is ready to publish, ready to communicate our result. So usually written to publish results urgently in rapidly changing field. So what is required? For example, in the COVID pandemic situation, many conducted research. What is the reason for this medical research being conducted? What kind of virus it is? So that is that kind of research we are immediately going to publish, to be made available to the community, made available to the public. So that kind of brief written communication form of research paper is known as rapid communication, or it is a form of letter. So it consists of the original preliminary results that are likely to have a significant impact. So that is only a primary analysis and the preliminary results. So rapid communication or a letter, that is also a form of research paper that is explained in the different reviews. And another kind of research paper is a review article. So review article means it is it's a comprehensive summary of a certain topic, and it may be usually written by an editor, a journal editor, or an expert in the field, by analyzing a topic of current interest, and what is the current assessment of an issue, and what are the findings and future directions. Especially we are reviewing a situation, or reviewing even reviewing certain studies, we can present it in the form of a paper. That is also a kind of review articles. So it is a massive undertaking in which approximately 100 research articles are cited. So it is a review article. It's an elaborate process. We cannot conduct within a short time. We have to analyze the situation deep, and we have to review so many articles, so many documents to arrive at a conclusion. So review article, that is why usually it is being done by an expert in the field or a leader in the field, or usually a journal editor can you write a review article regarding the various articles published in the journal. So that kind of research papers are also coming under the category of research paper. Another is case study research. Usually it is done in the medical field. We all know medical field, it includes the different cases, clinical purposes. We undertake a case study. So we report interesting occurrences of different treatment, emerging pathologies, and it can be a single case. If a deviant behavior is being noted, that can be researched and prepare a report on a single case, and even multiple cases. One of my student research on sexual abuse of adolescents. So that was a PhD research, and she used single case as well as multiple cases for including in her thesis. That is part of PhD research. So we can select a single case as well as multiple cases, means different people, even 10 or 15 students who have undergone that treatment or that kind of situation, what we are exposing to we are exposing to the audience. So maybe single cases or multiple cases we can include in the case study. And it also have a short introduction. There must be methods, there must be results and discussion. So this is the usual format of case study. And another kind of research paper is that we usually done for the preparation or presentation on a seminar. So that can be in some seminars they demand only abstract. Some seminars full paper is being asked to publish, and in the seminar proceedings. So in that case, it can be an abstract or a full paper to be published in the proceedings. So brief report of research presented at an organized meeting, that is the seminar proceedings. So this range from an abstract to full report of the research. So it explains what is our topic, what are the main points to be shared, and within the limited time, how we can communicate our experience with the research with the audience. So that kind of papers are also coming under a research paper. So basically research papers can be different types. One is original research paper, review articles, case studies, and abstract seminar presentations, and so on. So case studies, when we prepare case studies, we can focus on these areas because when we discuss clinical case, we can report about the history and physical examination. So the results can be with respect to these headings: history and physical examination, diagnostic focus, therapeutic focus, follow-up and outcome, and patient's experience, how the patient is experiencing his or her own activities regarding the treatment, or her problems, or whatever experience the patient is receiving. That can also be reported as our result. And one important component in the case study is we should seek the patient consent. So informed consent was to be obtained. We must ensure the informed consent must be obtained from the case, whoever is selected. So these are some of the different types of research papers. So what kind of research paper we are confident we can prepare with that. So that is the types of research papers. Then basically this is a structure of research paper I already mentioned, and most of the journals demand this structure. There must be a title. So title title page itself indicate the author's name, affiliation, and on which date we have to submit. So there must be a page for title. There must be a title and followed by a title page for the preparation of while preparing a research paper. So that title page should indicate the title of the paper, author's name, how many authors are there, whoever be the author, we should list out all the authors and the date of submission and author's affiliation, what is the affiliation of the author. So that is a title page. And abstract. Second aspect in the research paper is abstract. Abstract, I'll explain the characteristics and details of abstract in the later slides. And there must be a clear, concise, and short explanation of what is the research that you have undertaken during the course of time. So that is to be explained within 500 words, maximum 500 words. Usually 250, 300 words, you have to prepare an abstract that include what is the topic and what is the method, what is the sample used, what is the tools and techniques used, and what is the result you obtained. So all these can be summarized in a single paragraph that is known as the abstract. So preparing an abstract is also a skill to what extent we reveal the result within 300 words. That is a skill of a researcher. So an abstract must be there and followed by abstract must be supported by keywords. So the keywords helps to when you publish your paper, the keywords are more important because based on the keywords you can get the wide readability of your article. So there must be keen involvement or keen interest in providing the appropriate keywords for your research paper. So for example, in your research paper, there is if there is a keyword self-regulation. So when you add that keyword, your article will be visible to everybody who is searching the word self-regulation. That is why keywords are important while preparing abstract your paper. So select the appropriate keywords in the preparation abstract and your paper. Then there must be an introduction that explains why you perform the research and what is the purpose of research and what you are going to study through the research. So you have to introduce that in a concise and short form. So there must be an introduction. And the second next part is the methods. Methods explains how you conduct the study, what tool you have used, and how you analyze the data. All these must be explained. What experimental procedure you have conducted if you are undertaking your experiment, and what kind of survey, if you are carrying out a survey, what kind of survey you are using. So that must be revealed or explained in brief. That part, methods part, you have to explain the methodology of the research you have undertaken. And next is the result section. So after the methods, you collected data and the data is to be analyzed and you can get some results from the research you have conducted. So in the results section, you have to summarize the results of your experimentation, or if you are using a questionnaire, what data you have obtained and what data is how the result is obtained through the data, and what actually you obtained from the data, that is to be presented as results. There is no interpretation needs to be dealt in the result section. And after the result, there must be a discussion. Here, you have to explain your results in the context of available literature. So what the previous studies are saying and what is the result of the your current research and how it match or how it disagree with the previous researchers. So you can make a comparison also. You discuss your results with the previous researchers, and you have to make a comparison, and you have to make an evaluation also, and you can provide the appropriate implications for the results. So how the research is helping for future knowledge building. So that is also discussed in the discussion part. That is, during discussion, you can elaborate all these points in the discussion section. Then there must be a conclusion. That is, depending on the nature of the topic, depending on the nature of the journal you are submitting a paper, you can state your objective and the result, and how it is important to the field of education or field of research. That can be concluded in a concise manner. So the conclusion section deals with the major output and major futuristic implication of this study is to be explained, and there must be a list of sources in the reference section. So this is a general structure of a research paper. I think it is clear. Then one thing we have to remember is that every discipline has its own language and terminology. So familiarizing the language of our own subject is important in preparing a research paper. For example, when we deal with the human subjects, we always use the observation of human subjects. So the observation is one important terminology that we use in our educational research. So that is educational research has its own terminologies. That kind of terminology and language we must be familiar with while preparing a research paper. And the learning terminology is one important aspect. And while preparing the research paper, there must be a timeline you have to prepare. First, you have to find a topic. Find a topic of your own interest, then narrow down your topic. You may be selecting a vast area. For example, advanced educational innovation, advanced educational technology. You may be interested in knowing the educational technology, latest educational technology. It's a vast area. So based on the area you have selected, you have to narrow down your topic to the single concept. What kind of technology? What is the interactive technology? Or what is the, for example, if you are concentrating on this learning, students with the learning disabilities, assistive technology. So we can focus, or we can narrow down our topic to specific kinds of application of technology. So that is the first attempt that a researcher has to make. Then you have to make a draft research proposal, how it is to be conducted, what data I have to collect it, and from I get the data, and what tool I can use, and what time it is required. So you can prepare a research proposal, and what kind of statistical measures, or if it is a qualitative method, what kind of data collection procedure I have to adopt. All these must be prepared as in a draft research proposal. And based on that research proposal, we have to read. In creating a working bibliography, we have to read a lot. We have to undertake a review of research. That is not only research, but related theoretical aspects also. We have to read a lot based on the topic of interest. And creating our own notes, we have to note it down, what is to be relevant, what are the relevant idea that obtained from the review of later literature, what the different authors say about my concept of assistive technology. If I am selecting the assistive technology, what is the concept used in different countries, what are the assistive technologies used by different kinds of differently abled children. So these kinds of separate notes you have to prepare while reading the related literature. And based on that, you have to organize the different categories and drafting the paper. After drafting, you have to format based on the requirements of a journal authorities or the publishers demands, you have to format the paper, and writing the list of references, revising and submitting the manuscript. This is a research schedule for preparing a research paper. So above all, first step we have to consider is in what journal I am going to prepare or submit my manuscript. So first you select a journal. You can review many journals, many kinds of online, offline, open access, different kinds of journals are available. So in what journal I can publish a paper. So there are some journals that demand huge money is required for publishing the paper. So we can conduct a review regarding which journal is feasible for me. So that is the first step. After selecting that journal, you can go through the website of that journal. Many guidelines are given to the authors. So other guideline that must be read, and what is required for preparing a paper or submitting a manuscript, that must be followed while preparing a paper. For example, whether you obtain the consent of the participant, that is one important aspect in ethics also. We should seek the consent of the participants if we are using human beings as a subject. So that kind of procedures we should follow, and that must be insisting by many journals, many accepted standard journals. So that is important for preparing a research schedule of the research paper. First, you select the journal and follow the previous procedures. That is the schedule of research while preparing a research paper. Then first step is a topic selection. So topic selection, we can write freely. We can write our own in area of interest freely. Whatever comes into our mind, what kind of a paper I can write, or what kind of variables I can select. So all these can be freely written in a paper, so that from the list you can select whatever is important for the paper, and listing the keywords is important. So first you write a list of words that is relevant or what is interesting for you, and from that list you have to select keywords. What is the keyword that I have to use in my research paper, or on what basis I have to prepare my research paper? So what are the key components or the key variables that I have to use in my research paper? So the listing keywords and arranging the keywords. So we may get 20 or 25 keywords related to one concept. If we are using the adjustment, there may be a number of keywords we can use. So these keywords, you have to list it out and arrange and cluster it with respect to the sample. If I am studying the adjustment problems of secondary school students, you can cluster what is the different problems of this group. So the keywords you can cluster based on the sample, based on the context, based on the social environment that we are conducting. So all these must be limited. We are delimiting our problems. That is, we are selecting from the listed keywords. A cluster of keywords are selected and narrowing by comparison. Comparison means by comparing with the related literature, related studies, the previous studies, we can narrow down the keywords, and we can ask questions ourselves whether it is feasible, whether it is whether the data, we can collect data appropriately. So all these are the questions that we have to ask ourselves to complete our research. And asking questions is one of these key concept or key activity that the researcher has to undertake during the preparation of research paper. So what kind of data is available, whether it is whether the sources are very authentic. When we use different sources, whether the sources are authentic, how can we ensure the authenticity of an author? So all these questions must be framed during in the each and every stage of the preparation of a research paper. Then we can conduct personal interviews and discussions. We can conduct interviews with our mentor, our teacher, our peer colleagues, and undertake discussions, and even online groups are there for undertaking discussions. So all these activities can be helping a person to make a very good topic to be selected for research. So all the resources we can use for selecting a topic, we can list out from our own reading. We can select appropriate variables, and we can make it through comparison. We can ask ourselves what is required and what is to be possible and what is the feasibility. All these must be questioned. And we can conduct personal interviews. We can consult with our experts, expert colleagues, and even mentor, teacher. If you are doing a PhD research, you can ask your guide, and conduct online discussion forums also available freely. So all these can make our topic more authentic and more approachable and more feasible to do research. And narrowing a general subject into a scholarly topic is important for me taking a topic for research. So one narrow issue must be examined, and we can address the knowledgeable readers, and we should have a serious purpose that demands analysis of the issues, positions, and explains complex details. So when we select a topic, we should address all these components. It should be a narrow issue, a narrowed issue, or a small specific issue, and there must be it should address the targeted audience who should read. So it should address the targeted audience. That is one component, and it should analyze the issues, argues the position, and explains complex details. So it must be a serious purpose. That is the topic itself should have a serious purpose in doing all these activities. So narrowing down is an important component, and you can use online research searches to refine your topic. So when you select a topic, you have to narrow it down, and you should address the targeted audience, and you should analyze the issues and discuss in detail, so that it should be a good topic that you have selected. And in support, you can use online searches to refine the topic. There are sufficient data is available online. That is, we can search our database is available. Our library is a database. So you can conduct offline also. You can directly visit library and read a lot. For that, your topic selection will be a better one. And the InfoTrack, Eric, Procust, Ipsos. So all these are the different reliable databases available through which you can search your topic, whether it is undertaken in anywhere, then what are the tools that used, whether the tools are applicable for this research. So all these can be researched, and you can conduct a review on these databases. And articles on the internet, for first printed version, you can search, and you can visit a museum, university, or a professional organization. So wherever the sources are available, you can approach those sources and finally refine your topic, so that the topic selected will be without any flaws, so that you can conduct the research smoothly. So the sources are, the primary source is a scholarly book. You can read the theoretical background of your selected topic, and the library database. You can use the biography of the different personals and the scholarly articles, sponsored website. So the effectiveness of the sources is diminishing to the bottom. That is why this is represented in this form. So the first reliable source is a scholarly book, then the biography, scholarly article, and internet chat, that is a least reliable resource. Again, we can use these kinds of sources for our refining the topic. So that is for refining your topic. So when a topic is selected, the next step is you have to write an academic title. The title is important. Title itself reveals what your research is. So writing a title in the beginning may be some may be difficult, but throughout the while conducting the research, we can modify. So the while preparing a research paper, the writing the final title may be feasible until the paper is written. So the preliminary title may be modified after the full completion of the research paper. So the writing an academic title itself reveals the quality of the research work. So there are some criteria that we should follow how to prepare a research title. So there is no hard and fast rule, but many approaches are used for formulating a title. So it is a first impression. A good research paper title is a brief description of the topic, method. So the title should explain what is the topic, what is the method, what is the sample and results. So the in some paper the results may be highlighted, and some paper the method may be highlighted in the beginning. So the title must be self-explanatory. That is one criteria that we should remember. It must be self-explanatory. It should deal with the topic, deal with the method, it should deal with the sample and the result of your study. So the one of the accepted formulas, we can highlight the result first and the study of topic and which sample we are conducting. This is a usual formula followed by some of the journal articles. That is why this is explained here. And writing a research title, there are different forms. One is a declarative forms. We can state the main conclusions in the beginning. For example, innovative strategies in teaching improve academic performances of secondary school students. So in this title, we are explaining the conclusion as a statement. So this is one form of writing a title. We can be explaining the stating our conclusions in the form of a title. So another type of title is descriptive. We can describe the subject, that is effect of innovative strategies, and that is we are going to undertake this effect. So we can describe that aspect. That is descriptive form of titling. And the other is interrogative. You can use a question for the subject. For example, do innovative strategies in teaching improve academic performances? So secondary school. So in any way you can formulate a title, but the title should be self-explanatory with respect to the result. Here the result is innovative strategies improve performance. So what is the subject? Schools, secondary school students. So these kinds of criteria or the method or that style you can formulate while preparing a research title. Whatever be the title, it must be concise. It must be descriptive. So low word count, maximum of 15 words is accepted form. And journal guidelines. If the journal insists certain guidelines regarding the title, you can follow that guidelines and avoid symbols and jargons. So this is a criteria for writing a research title or research paper's title. And good research paper title should be having certain criteria, some qualities. So incorporate the keywords. That is one important criteria. Then it must be understandable to the reader. Whoever reading the title, it must be simple and clear to the reader. Avoid abbreviations, formula, and numbers. And most probably avoid study of, usually we see these kinds of titles, but in the latest trends, we are avoiding these kinds of terminologies, investigation of, study of, some other usage of these terms can be avoided, and get straight to the point of what the article adds to the topic. So what is the contribution of our research paper to the knowledge base? So that you can highlight in your research title. So a good title must be having those qualities. And we can have some conventions of academic writing. A research paper, we can follow different styles of academic writing. And usually in social sciences, we follow the APA style. So different subjects or different disciplines or different countries follow different styles of these conventions of academic writing. That is the MLA style, APA style, Chicago style, footnote style, CSE style, etc., etc. So usually in social sciences, we follow the APA style. So what is a sample paper in an APA style? So in APA style, the paper itself should be having certain stages or steps, structure. So there must be a title page, there must be a table of contents including page numbers. Usually this is second table of contents we can avoid in a research paper. It is with respect to a research document or a thesis. And there must be an introduction. And there must be a main part. The main part is analysis of the topic that include our hypothesis, methodology, everything is included in the main part. And we can make it as sub-chapters. And there must be a conclusion and the bibliography of work cited. So this is a general structure that is to be followed while preparing an APA style paper. Then what is introduction? You all know what is to be introduced. So that is the first major section of the paper. That introduction describes the topic and the investigation. We are introducing the topic to the readers. So we are describing the topic. What is the topic we are going to investigate? And summarizes the relevant prior researches. So when you read a research article or research paper in a internationally Scopus Index journal, there may be more review than the theory part. So based on the review, based on the relevant prior researches, we can identify what are the unresolved issues and what are the main factors that support the current topic of our research. And we can provide an overview of the research that is to be described in greater detail. That is the introductory part. So we have to introduce the topic supporting with the previous researches undertaken. So for every idea, we can have a wide reading. For example, in the last example, innovative strategies in teaching. If we are doing a research on that area, we have to read a lot on innovative strategies that is used in teaching at different levels. We can use what is a technology supported innovative strategies, what is a teacher initiated innovative strategies, teacher developed strategies, and the available strategies, and how it is effective. So when we select certain strategies only, how that strategies is effective or whether it is proved by other researchers. So all these can be included as a summary in the introductory part, so that we can highlight the need for doing this topic for research. So that is what is the topic and why it is worth studying. That is a section we have to deal with, the introductory section of a research paper. So introduction, we should provide a map of the structure. A thesis statement, that can be a statement, it is not a must, but a statement that explains all the relevant aspects of the study or the relevant aspects of the paper.
that statement can be said to be a thesis statement. It is not a hypothesis, it's a statement. It's in a qualitative study, it may be said as a purpose statement. What is the purpose of this study? So what is the paper and how do I approach when the course of the paper is dealing with the issues, and what is the current status, state of the art in critical material? If we are using the secondary sources, what is the status of that sources? So all these can be mentioned in the introductory part. So as a thesis statement. So a thesis statement can also be added in the introductory part that encompass all the details of the paper you are going to write. And a compelling introduction should give a broad background, and it should be written in a logical manner, and it should focus on the problem. And you can note any solutions in the literature. That is based on the literature only you have to write the introductory part. That is the quality of a paper, and propose your solution to the problem with the reasons. And all these can be done in the introductory part, because based on the review, we can substantiate the need for our research. And again, what is the research gap in established through the various researches. So our attempt is to fill the gap. So that is to be established as a relevance of the research paper. That is important while writing an introduction, and the do's and don'ts while writing an introduction. While writing an introduction, we should present the relevant background only, and focus the paper and the specific purpose, and define terms and the plan of organization. And you need not present the result or giving irrelevant information and giving endless information regarding the author, or unnecessary information you need not provide during the introductory part. It should be a crisp, it should be specific, it should be a concise explanation of the two topics supported by the researches undertaken in that topic. That is the need for writing introduction. And literature review, it is part and parcel of every stage of our research paper. During the introductory part, we may use the literature review. So literature research is important from the beginning. From the topic selection onwards, we have to undertake the literature review. And during the introduction, you are introducing the topic with the support of the literature review, and identifies the gaps and rationalize your research. That is the purpose of literature review in introductory part. So you can conduct a literature review throughout the research process, and you can summarize the results in two sections. One is the introductory section, and the other is the discussion section. So discussion, you can support and compare results with the previous studies. Use the literature of your research in context with the current state of knowledge. So again, discussion part, you can support how your research is helping to advance the field. That is with the support of the literature review. You can use this literature review in two sections, introduction and discussion section. So literature review is important step in throughout the process of taking a research as well as writing a research. And in a methodology part, what to include in the methodology section. So after introduction, we are writing the method section. So methodology section, we have to include what type of research you are undertaking, whether it is a correlational research, whether it is a opinion survey, or whether it is a experimental research, what kind of method you are using, and why that method is using, what is the rationale behind the research method, as well as the significance of the research you can highlight, and what resources, materials, or tools you have to use in this research process, and how you are collecting the data, and what analysis procedure you are going to adopt. So these 5 components you have to include in the methodology part. And methods, what did you do? What kind of research you have undertaken? whether it is a survey, whether it is an experiment, whether it is a case study, whether it is a document analysis, or whether it is a review. So you can mention what is a research conducted, how the research was conducted. And again, it explains the participants' description of subjects, how many subjects you have selected, what is a sample, how you selected the sample, and how you designed the study. What is a research design you used, whether you use the experimental design or survey design or a historical research design. So you can mention all these aspects in the method section. And if you are using the multiple experiments, each experiment may be reported in separate method section. So different methods, whatever methods you have used in your research process, you can explain here. So it should be detailed. That is, the methodology section should detail all the methods and materials and methods section. Always write in the past tense. That is, APA style demands methodology section. We use past tense because we are reporting the procedures you have carried out. So when you report, you use the past tense. That is one guideline given by APA. Then avoid unnecessary details, because we are preparing a short paper. We have to limit the words as demanded by the publishers. So within that limited words, we have to explain our methodology, materials and equipments, everything. So avoid unnecessary details. And whether you use different equipments or materials, wherever you need to mention that should be mentioned. Not only in the beginning, you can mention wherever required. It is not a condition that it should be mentioned in the introductory section only. So wherever is required. So there is a freedom for the researcher or the freedom for the investigator to write the methodology part as conveniently. So wherever required, you can add these details. So details, any ethics or consent requirements if your study included human or animal subjects. So that is being demanded by almost all publishers, because informed consent is to be sought. Then use standard nomenclature and numbers and the logical presentation of the methods and detailed statistical methods. So whatever statistics you are going to use, that can be mentioned in the methodology materials section. So materials and methods, this is a checklist. We can say that we should check when you write the materials and methods, we should check all these aspects. So whether the references are written or mentioned in the section of previously published methods, and study settings, whether we report the context or the population or the location where the study is conducted, and whether the animal models, if we are using the animal models, whether we follow the ethical procedures, and whether the ethical procedures are related to human subjects. So all these must be checked before writing the materials and methods section. So whether the softwares are obtained, the programs and their version numbers, because these are the ethical components regarding the publication of our research report. So we should ensure all these components before writing the methodology, or while writing the methodology, we should check all these are satisfied in our report. That is, materials and methods must be, these checklists must be checked whether these are followed or not. And conducting a survey with a questionnaire. When you are doing a research, you can either conduct a survey or an experiment. So for a research paper, a questionnaire, short, clear, focused, unbiased questions must be prepared, and a quick response scale. We can prepare a quick response scale, easy return of the questionnaire. So the data must be available. We cannot cook data. So cooked up data is another unethical part of research. So that is done by many researchers knowingly or unknowingly. So in order to avoid, we should ensure sufficient data must be collected. That is, an easy return of the questionnaire must be ensured, and provide a sample questionnaire in the appendix and tabulate the results objectively. Whatever results we get, that must be objectively reported. That is, while conducting a survey, but while conducting an experiment or observation, there must be a clear hypothesis, and proper design must be mentioned, and a review of related literature and records and accurate data. And you need not anticipate the result. Whatever result you obtained, that must be reported. So maintain respect for human and animal subjects. So these are some of the procedural rules that researchers should follow while conducting a survey or a research, experimental research. So we from the methodology part, we are moving to the result section. So results explain whatever you obtained from your data. What did you find? Whether the data was collected and the results are analyzed, and based on the statistical results, what is obtained? That is the result section. So it is a description of the analysis procedures that was used. If you are comparing the two group using a differential analysis, you can mention those statistical procedures and explain the result. So if there are multiple experiments, each experiment requires separate result section. So with the tables, with the figures, you can highlight the results, or without any data support, you can present the results by interpretation of the result. That is from the guideline of the publisher. Which journal is strongly demanding the data as such is required, you can present the data. Otherwise, you can present the results only. So that depends on the guideline of the journal you are going to publish. Then result section of a research paper, you should present the control group data, experimental group data, whatever data available, that must be given, and statistical values and the probability values and the significant values must be given, and visual illustrations using figures and tables, you can present it as such. And things that do not belong to the result section is the speculation of commentary about the result. You are presenting the result only. You are not able to evaluate the result, or another interpretation need not be done in this section. And no reference is to be mentioned in this section. And do not repeat the data in text if it has been presented in a table or graph. So you are presenting the data. If you are presenting in a graph, you need not repeat again in the word form. So that is avoiding unnecessary duplication of your result can be done. Then followed by the result, there must be a discussion section. So many of the paper normally scholars are avoiding this section, discussion of results. This is important with respect to many accepted journals, corpus index journals, and almost quality journals. We should ensure that discussion is there. So what is the significance of your results? The final major section of the research paper is a discussion of the result. So it features a summary of results, how these results are address the topic under investigation, or the issues that the research was designed to address, and may expand upon the implications of those findings. So the discussion is undertaken for expanding the knowledge with respect to the comparison with based on the previous studies and the educational implications, and for future researchers how it is useful. So all these can be explained in the discussion section. So limitations and directions for future research are also addressed during this part. So if our research has certain limitation, when the investigator feels some limitations during the process of data collection, you can mention in the research section. So the purpose is to identify whether you achieved your objective. You have selected certain objectives in the beginning to while writing the paper, whether it is achieved or not. And how do your results compare to other studies, whether the results are in agreement with the previous studies or in contradiction to the previous studies. So that must be explained in the results discussion section. Then whether any limitations. So this is the purpose of discussing the result in your research paper. And the discussion must be with respect to how do your result answer, what do you think your results are different to published data, that is whether it is agreeing with the previous researchers or in disagreement, whether it is different from the published data, that you have to evaluate and write it in the discussion section. And further research, do you think further research would help clarify any issue with your data, whether this data is helping to formulate future problems or to find out the solutions of future issues. So that is one part of discussion. So an effective discussion is not a literature review. You should interpret your results, be concise and remove unnecessary words. Do not include results that are not presented in the result section. So whatever presented in the result section only to be discussed in the discussion section, and ensure your conclusions are supported by your data. Without any data, you need not mention any discussion or conclusion in the discussion section. And the conclusion part. At the end of the report, a conclusion must be there. It should summarize the most important results and present what were the main points of your argument and central issues of your paper to make sure that the main points are being asked correctly. And conclusion should answer the implicit questions raised in your thesis statement or introduction. So what is the question you raised? What is the argument you put forward? What is the point you have highlighted in your introductory part? Whether all these are achieved or satisfied through the research process, that is to be written as a conclusion in the conclusion section. And conclusion, state what you said to achieve, tell the reader what your major findings, how has your study contributed, any limitations occurred, and the recommendations for future research. And if any further points you have, you should explain with the significance and suggest what about this topic leads to further research. So it should lead with the present, past, present, and future. So what is your what was your intention, and what you have made through the study, and how it is helping the future. So the three aspects you have to mention in the conclusion section, and there must be a reference. So every research paper must be supported with a sufficient reference. So you are familiar in writing a reference in an APA style. I need not explain all the, I have listed the different styles, whether it is required to explain all these. Anyone? I have listed the references of.
Ma'am is asking the question.
Yeah. Whether the reference details I have to explain or not.
I think you can just briefly explain it.
Okay, I'll go through each and every slide. Okay. So reference section is the main or important part of a research paper. And whatever articles, whatever books, whatever sources you have referred, you have to cite it clearly. Otherwise, you cannot include any item without proper reference. That is one component that remember while preparing a research paper. And it must be in alphabetized list and last name of the author first. So that is the APA style you should follow. Each reference should follow specific
APA guidelines regarding author name, dates, etc. So referencing style is mentioned by the author guidelines in different journals. So you should follow the author guidelines while making the citations. So detailed list of your reference you should keep, while from the beginning onwards, you have to keep a detailed list of your reference. Whenever you read a book, you have to keep the reference of that book and the other publication, year of publication. So every details you have to keep with you so that it can add to the research paper that shows the validity of your research paper. And insert a citation in text as you write. For example, while writing introduction, we can cite the author name and year. Throughout the introduction section, we can use this format for citing the author's contribution, so that we are following the ethical procedures. We are free of plagiarism. So that that approach you should follow. Then full reference list must be prepared, and whatever you record, you have to select it and properly arrange it. And many programs are available, for software programs are available for referencing, formatting, as well as citing your references, like Menley and Not, Refox, etc. So all these are the software programs that helps you to cite your such publication, review of related literature also. Then APA style uses following text conventions in the text citations. During the text, writing the text, we can cite the last names only, and then cite the year within parentheses immediately after the name, and uses P or PP before page numbers. And in text citation, APA requires the last name of the author and year of publication only in text citation. And citing more than one work by an author, you can use different letters, lowercase letters. You can highlight A, B, C to identify two or more works published by the same author. For example, if Thompson publishes 3 articles, you can mention in the year 2013 itself, A, B, C, you can mention in the reference. So citing indirect sources, use a double reference. We can cite a person who has been quoted in a book. So there you can, where it is available, you can mention in the last section of your reference. So citing indirect sources, there is a format. Then book, you have to mention this style, the surname followed by the initial or first name, the year of publication, name of the book and publishers, and list chronologically, not alphabetically. If 2 or more works by the same author, if the same author publishes 2 works in 2012 and 13, you have to list it in the chronological order, not alphabetically. So after 2012 only, you have to write the 2013 publication. So that order you must follow while citing a book. And part of a book, list of author, the date of year of publication, chapter or section. If you are quoting from an edited book or a chapter from a book, you can follow this procedure. So list the author. If more than one author, how many authors, you can select all the authors' name and the year of publication, name of the chapter, and followed by editors. Who are the editors? The name of the book and page numbers of the specific section, as given in the format here. So the Farmington Hills, that is a place of publication and the publisher. So this is a format when you quote or recite a part of a book, a chapter of a book, or a edited book, you can use this format. When you use the encyclopedia or dictionary,
you can use this format. That is, you go through this list. And journal, also the same procedure, author's surname, and then year, then the name of the journal, then volume number, and page numbers. So all these are essential for citing a journal. Then magazine, if you are selecting a magazine, it is they list the author, date of publication, year, month without abbreviation, and specific day for magazine published, weekly or fortnightly or 2 weeks, and title of the article without quotation marks. So this format must be followed while referring magazine. Then newspaper. This is a format for newspaper. Then abstract, as cited source, that is the author's name, year of publication and month, and the title, then the which source from in which it is cited, and the page numbers. So this is a format for abstract of an unpublished book. When you review, when a review is being cited, you have to follow the procedure as given. Then report, article from an online journal, and article with the DOI assigned. So whatever is cited, you should follow this procedure. That is a criteria according to APA. Then tables and figures, you must include the graphs and data depending on the type of research being performed. There may be tables or figures. So every guideline is given in the APA format. You usually follow that format for preparing figures and tables. And there must be supplementary information in the appendix. And whatever tools you have used, you can supplement in the appendix, and the list of experts, if there is for validation of a tool, you can add in the appendix list. Then details of secondary analysis, if any consent form is there. So all these supporting materials you can append as an appendix in the research paper. Then that is about the preparation of a research paper. Then assigning authorship. Who is assigned as an author? Who is qualified as an author? That is important. Everybody can be an author, but the quality of the author depends on certain criteria. So to qualify as an author, an individual must make substantial contribution to all stages of the research. So if you are an original researcher, you can be an author because you have undertaken all the processes by yourself. So that is your contributions to all stages of research is evident. So in that case, you can be an author. Then you can be an author when you draft or revise the manuscript. So if your mentor, if your guide is revising the manuscript and preparing or making some modifications, he also can be an author. Then approve the final version of the article. So if some other person is supporting to prepare your article and approve and proofreading and help you in preparation of the article and approve the final version of the article, he also can be an author. So be accountable for the accuracy and integrity of the research. So whoever is said to be an author, that is important. When a person is engaged in different phases of research completely or partially, he can be an author. So that is one criteria for becoming an author. And there are some unethical and unprofessional authorship. And one such authorship is gift authorship. In certain cases, an individual is listed as a co-author in lay of funding or supervision. So that is a gifted authorship. For example, your mentor is listed as a gifted authorship. He is not directly involved in the research process, but in any of the stage of the research process, the vendor is not involved. It is not an ethical ownership or an ethical authorship of the paper. So try to avoid that kind of involvement in the published work. So gift authorship, try to avoid. And ghost authorship, an author is paid to write an article but does not contribute the article in any other way. So we are submitting everything to a person and he is writing the article with his own language, and his contribution to the research is minimum. And he is a paid author, that is said to be a ghost authorship. So that is also unethical and unprofessional authorship. And the third category is guest authorship, an individual who is given authorship because they are well known and respected in the field, or they are senior members of the staff. So some guest authorship, because of getting their favor, we are including some respectable persons in the list of authors. So that kind of authorship is also unethical. So these kinds of authorship are unprofessional and unethical. So try to avoid these kinds of authorship, whether you are a guide or whether you are a researcher, try to avoid these kinds of authorship. And another section in a research paper is acknowledgement section. Who is to be acknowledged? So those who do not qualify as authors but have contributed to the research should be given credit in the acknowledgement section. And even funding agencies, your supervisors, administrators, your supporters, your co-teachers, even writing, who is supporting you, editing, proofreading, assistants. So whoever is supporting your research, you should acknowledge them in the acknowledgement section. So acknowledgement section for a research paper is also important. The contributions made by these individuals should be stated, and sometimes the written permission to be acknowledged is required by the editors. So some journals, editors demand the permission to be acknowledged. We cannot include the all persons in the acknowledgement list. So we have to submit that permission letter also while submitting the manuscript. That is demanded by certain publishers. And other instructions before preparing manuscript. So in the beginning, I told you that we have to select a journal. You have to go through the website of that journal. You have to read the guidelines of the other guidelines of the journal, so that we can prepare our paper according to other instructions. So that is the first step you have to follow in preparing a research paper. So check the other guidelines of your chosen publication. And publishers have their own different styles of language, whether we use UK English or US English, whether the abbreviations are allowed, how we have to format the figures. So specific guidelines are given for each section by different journals. So you should follow that procedures, that criteria, that guidelines while preparing your research paper. Otherwise, your paper will be rejected by them. So they are also especially important for the reference section. So what kind of style they are insisting, whether it is MLA style or APA style or CSA style, etc. So what style they are insisting, we must follow that style also. Then proofreading, editing, when in the research paper is ready, we have to undertake proofreading. So we have to ensure that our manuscript is structured correctly, clearly written, correct technical language is being used, and with the proper evidence, sufficient data is there to establish our theory or research. So this must be checked or ensured while submitting a manuscript. So the proper editing must be done by the researcher. If more than one researcher is there, all the researchers have the responsibility to read and edit the manuscript clearly so that all the criteria can be satisfied. So seek assistance from colleagues or professional editors. So many persons are helping you, may help you to read, but because once we read every time, we may not note the mistakes or the faults of the paper we have prepared. So try to make others for reading your paper at least once, so that it can be more quality one. So proofreading is essential, and pre-submission peer review of your manuscript. So a peer review board, if an institution have a peer review board, we can submit the manuscript in the peer review board, and the peer review can give suggestions, receiving constructive feedback, and that improve the clarity of the paper. So ask experienced colleagues, supervisors, or even professors, editing services to review your article before submission, so that you can be having less correction or less errors while submitting the manuscript, and can be accepted in the beginning itself. And there must be a structural edit of your paper. Is your thesis statement clear and concise? Whether you structurally followed the procedure of a journal, and whether the grammatically, linguistically, everything is well organized, and follow the structure put forward by the publishers. So all these must be ensured before submitting the manuscript. So the structural edit must be done before submitting the manuscript. So ideas follow a logical sequence, and whether the paragraphs are followed the procedure with the introduction, then the main part and the conclusion. So each paragraph should have such criteria. There must be an opening sentence, then the main part, and followed by the conclusion. So that must be followed in every aspects of the written text. So have you used concrete details, your arguments, supports, and prove your statement? Have you avoided repetition, and sources are properly cited, and whether you check the accidental plagiarism. So whether any plagiarism occurs, whether you have done any measures to avoid that unintentional plagiarism. So all these must be checked through the structural editing. Then the tools and resources you can use is Google Scholar, so Terra Focus Writer, Google Charts, Grammarly. So all these can be used for checking your authenticity or the quality of your paper. Then major components: title page, abstract, body, reference page, and the title of the paper. Title page should consist of all these: title of the paper, author's name, name of the institution. Then abstract. Abstract is what your research is about. So every paper demand an abstract. So how you prepare an abstract is also important. So what your research is about, that is explained in an abstract. What methods have been used, what you found out. So this is the structure of an abstract, and how important the abstract is. So abstracts are, when we search the Google Scholar or LCV journal, we can read only the abstract and the keywords. And full paper may not be available, whether in some cases it is paid one. So the abstract is more important. When the abstract is genuine and the abstract is worth, the readers will be interested to read further paper. So the preparation of abstract is more important. And abstract decide whether the article is having wide reach, and whether an accepted journal will accept our publication for our research for publication. So preparing an abstract is one important stage of preparing the research paper. After completing the research paper, you have to prepare the abstract, a brief summary. It should be used in purpose that include a hypothesis. Usually research papers are emphasizing the abstract, but in some other journals, many journals demand a good abstract is to be required, and it should be concise, and your writing voice will not be as apparent as in the body of the paper. When writing the abstract, the facts, approach, summarize your research question and your findings in a few sentences can be included in the abstract section. There are two forms of abstract writing. One is a structured abstract, that is have distinct sections with the headings. What is a introduction, what is a method, what is a result, and what is a conclusion. So with a definite structure, we can write the abstract. And in an unstructured abstract, a narrative paragraph of your research similar to a structured abstract, but does not contain the headings. That is a difference. So in two forms, you can write the abstract. Whatever the publisher demands, you can prepare the abstract with respect to that guideline. And the abstract must be accurate, self-contained, concise, and specific, non-evaluative, and coherent and readable. So these criteria must be satisfied. And abstract should be self-contained. For original papers, you should describe your method and procedures only. For review papers, you should first state the primary objective of the review, reasoning behind your choice, the main outcomes and results of your review, and the conclusions that may be drawn, including implications for further research. So this is a style of abstract according to Taylor and Francis. I got it from the Taylor and Francis. Then evaluating online sources. We are using online resources more in the present context. So you check whether the online sources are authentic or not. So prefer these sites with the edu and org sites. They are more authentic than many other sites. The .gov government and my sites are generally considered to be reliable. Then .com is a commercial site. And professional, when you search the single author's contribution, what is the professional affiliation of the writer, to what extent he is having the wide readability, his authenticity, his authorship, his scholarship, etc., can be checked. And look for the bibliography that accompanies the articles. Well, when you read the article, you should go through the bibliography, to what extent, to whether the bibliography is exhaustive enough to substantiate the result of the paper. So that also shows the authenticity of an online resource. And use net discussion groups. And there are many discussion groups are available in the social group networking sites. So use that also for evaluating the online sources. Look for the timeliness of the information on the site. So in which year, on which date it was submitted, and on which date it was accepted. For accepting a journal in a Elsevier journal, it will take more than 1 or 2 years. So that is the period we wait for publishing, get published in an approved journal. So that kind of timeline, you can check whether the published work is done in a hurry manner, or it takes the review process completely. So all these must be checked while using online resources for your research paper. So the evaluation of online resources is a must while using the online resources for your paper. And what is, as a researcher, what is to be followed? One is, you must make it a driving force. So doing research and publishing must be your inner interest. So you must be internally forced, internally motivated to prepare research papers. So that is one essential component to make it successful. So if you are intended to make a paper, you must have a driving force. So it should be your driving force in preparing a research paper. And you need not prepare many papers with less quality, provided it is of less quality. So less is more. If you prepare one paper with all the criteria that mentioned, it is a worth paper that is valued more than the number of papers you publish. So when you publish a paper in an Elsevier journal or an internationally accepted Scopus industry journal, one publication is sufficient than 10 publications in a predatory journal. So there are many predatory journals, paid journals. So try to avoid that. Less is more. Pick the right audience. That means who should read our article? Who should read our research work? That is to be fixed. And to that audience, you have to prepare the research paper and be logical. Always follow the logical sequence in writing as well as in using as well as in referring. We use the logical procedures and ethical concerns, and be thorough and make it complete. So every research must be complete with respect to all the steps that I have explained. There must be a proper introduction, there must be proper methodology, proper data, sufficient data, the analysis procedure, the discussion part, sufficient review, and sufficient reference materials that you cited. All these must be complete so that the research paper will be a worth one, and be concise, specific, be artistic in writing. Your language skill also have its own added value in preparing a research paper, and be your own judge. Always use critical thinking of your paper also. We try to analyze your paper periodically, how I can improve. So be your own judge. Test the water in your own backyard. So what is the limitation or what is the pitfall in your research? You have to overcome that also. Build a virtual team of collaborators. That is possible in this digital era. So these guidelines you have to follow as a person for preparing a research paper genuinely. So genuine researcher must be having these qualities. And plagiarism, you are familiar with the plagiarism and how you can avoid plagiarism, and what measures, simple measures you can use to avoid plagiarism, because we are using different kinds of resources, whether it is authentic or not, whether it is reliable or not, we are not checking. So all these must be checked before using the online resources, and even other resources. Even MA dissertations or any other dissertations you are quoting, those are all copied from different sources. So using sources to enhance your credibility, that is important. Using sources to place a citation in its proper context, and honoring properly rights and crediting sources, properly documenting borrowed ideas, sharing credit and honoring it in collaborative projects, honoring and crediting sources in online classrooms, seeking permission to publish material on your website. So whatever you do in your research, it must be honored, it must be credited, it must be acknowledged, it must be properly documented. That is one way to avoid plagiarism. As per IEA guidelines, these are the plagiarism, self-plagiarism without identification and acknowledgement. Cutting and pasting others' work, that is plagiarism. Replication of method sections without clear statement. Republication of conference papers with a little added value, that usually done by research scholars, many research scholars. When we publish a paper in a conference and we make some title modifications and publish in another journal. So that is also plagiarism. And review papers which largely replicate previously published content, or plagiarism of images. So the images, tables, formulae, data without acknowledgement and copyright we use, it is plagiarist. And ideas, wholesale plagiarism, previously published text, republication, translation without acknowledgement. So these are the mentioned plagiarism as per the guidelines of IEEE. Then avoiding unintentional plagiarism. Knowingly or unknowingly plagiarism occurs in our research papers. So unintentionally we can avoid plagiarism. That is, we have to cite, we have to use the quotation marks, we can paraphrase, we can parenthetical citations and notes, work cited for reference pages we can give in our citation part. So all these can avoid plagiarism. And once you prepare the research, once you publish the research, and you have to promote your research article also. So once you publish the research, it should be read by maximum number of persons, maximum academicians. So how to promote your research article, that is also important. So you can use social media to promote your article. You can highlight your title, you can highlight the findings through social media so that more number of people can read your research paper. And join an academic research sharing network. You can share with your network, create a Google Scholar profile. So you can create freely a Google Scholar profile and you can add your paper in that section also, write a blog post, create a video abstract, share your reprints, present your paper at a conference, speak to your librarian so that a librarian can share with his network, update web pages. In your institution or in your department, the website is available. You can update your paper and upload your paper in the website also, so that a large audience can meet your paper, reach your paper and read your paper, so that your H index can be improved. So more number of people can read and cite your paper, your index score will be improved. So you can promote your research article also in this case. Then some new trends. With this, I conclude. So, well, topic selection, we should use our thinking process. That is important. So thinking is important. Technically, it is termed as a strategic intuition. It is not a mere assumptions. We purposefully think and select a topic. So we use a strategic intuition, and a researcher must deliberately take effort to improve the strategic intuition skills, so that our topic selection, our thinking process, our problem solving process will be enriching. So in the current scenario, we should use our own skill also, our intellectual skill also for selecting a topic, refining a topic, enriching our research process. And exploit latest digital tools are there: word cloud analysis, Google Trends, sentimental analysis, some of the effective digital tools for exploiting the different areas that we can select. So word cloud analysis means there list of words. So what is the intensity of that word? That is a visual software that we can see which word is highlighted, and the intensity of the word is highlighted. That word is more written or referred by other people. So similar digital tools are there for reviewing about the different variables and topics, so that we can include in our research process. And using when you review the related literature, the current trends, the latest trends is use scriptural reference. We can use scriptural reference. For example, Bhagavad Gita says like that, Bible says like that, Quran says like that. So in that way, also review of later literature, some ideas are mentioned in the scriptures. So scriptural reference is the current trend in preparing a research paper in the section of review of related literature. And when we formulate a hypothesis, we should correlate theory. So different theories are there. When we correlate the accepted theories in the research hypothesis, it will be better reach, better readability is gaining in these kinds of hypothesis formulation. So and the research design, when you prepare a research design, you should explore technology. So technological tools are there, technological methods are available, designing based tools are available. How you can explore those technological tools and techniques and resources for preparing your own research design, it will be better. So using the technology, you can refine your research design, or design-based research you can formulate, and you can design the problems and design the solutions, and based on the solution, you can design your own methodology. So there are different techniques for using the research design appropriately. So the current trend is using these kinds of research design supported by technology. And the data collection process, if we use different measures for data collection, on personal observation is also having its own importance. For example, when we observe indirectly or non-participant use for non-participant observation in a shopping mall, we can see many different behaviors of people that is even unexpected, that have more authenticity or more reliability than if we collect data using a questionnaire, especially when we are using certain structured questionnaire to the learned person, they know how they have to respond. So in that way, when we focus on personal observation to supplement our data, it will be better. And the data collection process will be more reliable and data will be more authentic than we collect through formal ways. So supplement your data collection with the personal observation also. That is also the latest trends that is being suggested. And race to the passes, that is, we have to be updated with our knowledge and skills, keep abreast of the latest techniques available in the environment. And according to the open source 2018, some says Internet of Things networks, IoT networks, predictive analytics, dark data, chief data officers, quantum open source. So all these are the different techniques, latest techniques available for data collection procedure. So for example, dark data, there are many untapped data. When you collect data, some data is not even used. So untapped data, that is a rich source of data for other purposes. So similarly, the different techniques, latest techniques are available to collect the data. So that techniques we can use for collecting data. And interpretation and report writing, freedom from format, that should be followed. So when we write a report, write a paper, it is a freedom of the investigator, the researcher. There is no restricted format for writing a research paper that we should practice. So we can present the data, present the result in our own language, our own convenience, our own structure, displays, our own visual format, our own tabular format, whatever format you like, that is to be followed. That is freedom from format. So when you interpret and report writing, you can use your own format for writing. So that is gaining attention nowadays. That is freedom from format. There is no accepted format. There is no fixed format for writing a research paper. So these are some of the issues that, or some of the points that we should consider while discussing about preparing a research paper. I think you have listened to a huge data.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. And dear participants, if you are having any queries or ideas to share, please turn on mic and do it.
Yes, ma'am.
Arpita.
First of all, I'd like to thank ma'am for delivering such a good lecture. A lot of things are clear now. We have a lot of queries regarding all this review of literature and that. Ma'am, actually, I want to ask one thing. As my university, this lovely professional university, they are always giving focus on Scopus journal.
Yeah.
Especially for review of literature, Scopus journal. Ma'am, can you able to tell me just how I will avail that Scopus journal? Because whenever I'm trying to open it from the Scopus itself, it is not opening properly. I'm not getting proper review of literature from there. So how to assess that?
So there are many options available to access the open this Scopus Index journal. One is through your institution. If your institution or university having membership with these bodies, we can open those resources through that way. So otherwise, we have to gain membership another professional bodies. For example, APA is a professional body. So in that way also we can access different Scopus indexed material.
Okay. Any other source apart from Scopus which we can rely?
Otherwise, they demand some fee to open. So if your librarian can assist you, if your library have access, online access, it will be beneficial for you. In our university, we have a section for the online journalism section. It is free for all those who approach there. So some similar arrangement will be there to access these Scopus indexed journals.
Yes,
Ma'am,
ma'am.
any other
Universities and some colleges having research centers are having to implement and all.
So institutional support is required.
Yes, we have. Another thing is that apart from Scopus, any other which we can rely for review of literature?
What is the subject?
Ma'am, education.
Education. So we have UGC care listed journals, Web of Science journals.
There also we can assess like this only? Or
No. UGC care listed journal we can access.
We can access.
Oh.
Okay, ma'am. Please, if it is possible to share the PPT.
Okay, I'll share it to Dr. Nasir Ali.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
You are a researcher, Arpita?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay.
Okay, good afternoon, ma'am. And I think it was a very useful session to the academic community. And I have a doubt that what care should be taken while writing keywords under abstract?
Yeah.
Abstractന്റെ താഴെ നമ്മൾ കീവേഡ്സ് എഴുതുമ്പോൾ ടൈറ്റിലിൽ മാത്രം അത് ഒതുങ്ങി നിൽക്കണോ എന്നുള്ളതാണ് ഒരു ചോദ്യം.
No. Whatever words you are going to highlight in your paper, that is the keywords. So whenever you select a keyword, that need not be in the title, but it should be in the abstract part. So in the abstract part, you are selecting 7 keywords. That keywords is the searching option for other persons of your article. When some person searching a keyword that you have mentioned in your article, your paper will be opened for them. So take care of that aspect when you select the keyword. Whether you are representing a keyword in your article, that must be sufficiently written in your article. When somebody opens for that keyword, there must be sufficient data in your paper. So in that way, you have to select the keyword, and that must be mentioned in the abstract section also. Without mentioning that part, you cannot include in the keyword section. But need not be in the title. All the keywords need not be in the title.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am. Then one more question. Actually, we have to use a research language while writing a research report or any other article like that.
Yeah.
So can you mention what is the meaning of this research language?
Yes, research language means there are certain terminologies that we should follow. For example, we use the term analysis. Analysis means we are going deeply into the subject. So when we use the term analysis, that analysis must be followed in that part. So similarly, we use the interpretation. We are giving meaning to the data collected, how the data is meaningful to others. That is being interpreted. So similarly, every research, educational research, has certain common terminologies that we should use in our research report. That is the language of the research that we must follow. So for example, when we study the human component, human behavior, human characteristic, we use the term behavior. Behavior is being observed. So the terminology we use is having its own scientific base. On what basis we use the terminology in our research? Only observation that we can observe the behavior of human being, and behavior can only be observed. Is it so? So in that way, every terminology, every language has its own scientific base. Without any scientific base, we cannot use that terminology or language in our research process. So while reading through the research literature, review of literature, you can be familiar with the language used for that subject. That is why we insist we should read a lot with respect to the review of literature. So the common language is different for different disciplines. Literature, language subjects, it has different notations and symbolic way of representation of language. So in that way, language is different for different subjects. And usually in educational research or social science research, we use the APA format for selecting the appropriate terminology also. So you can refer the APA guideline. It is available.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Madam, good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon.
In some journals, they are we publishing the articles in some journals. They needed to ask for some amount. Such journals are labeled as paid journals. Some journals they any not need to want to money, madam. What is the difference between paid and unpaid journals, madam?
You are mentioning about the Scopus index or common journal?
Common and the Scopus journals, madam. Both, madam.
So some journals they demand money because that is some open access journal. That is we can publish within no time. And they have limited criteria to satisfy a paper. That is why they are demanding more money.
Yes.
Otherwise, non-paid journals, it have its own quality. They will take more time to review. So after a thorough review, they will accept the paper.
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
So that determines the quality. The quality is different. That is the only point. We say some predatory journals, paid journals. Yeah. So try to avoid that kind of journals and try to publish in quality journals. Even if it takes, even if it takes more time.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am, I have another question.
Yes,
ma'am. Ma'am, for publication in Scopus, how can we do it? What is the process of doing it?
First you search the website. If you are selecting LCV journal, there are many education research journals are available. So you go through the list of education journals and what area you are selected, in which domain the different journals comes. You can select the journal based on your domain of research. So if you are selecting teacher education, there are many journals associated with the teacher education. So you can select a journal first. After selecting the journal, you go through the guidelines to prepare a paper. Other guidelines are there. So when you satisfy all the guidelines, you can submit your manuscript. Okay. So you go through the website and read the author guideline specifically because that every step they ask certain documents to support that criteria. For example, if we ask whether you collected the informed consent of the participants, whether we are using human beings as the subject, our subject is human being. So we have to seek the consent of this person, subject. So that informed consent must be collected before collecting data. So once you collected data, this process is over. You cannot go for getting the consent from the subject. Okay, so before going for data collection itself, you go through the guideline and satisfy all the requirements they demand. Then only you prepare the paper and submit the paper. You can submit online. And after submission, they will give you a confirmation whether your paper is accepted or rejected, or some modification is to be done, and they make some suggestions. You may make the repeated review will be conducted, and after thorough review, they will publish the paper.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
And ma'am, actually, Scopus is a index of the database.
Yeah.
So whether Scopus or UGC care, so all these nothing but the database which are recognized by some bodies.
Yeah.
Scopus is from Elsevier.
So every one demands the indexed journal, Scopus indexed journal, and the impact factor of the journal is also important.
Unfortunately, our system has many lacunae.
Yeah.
An index journal is mentioned.
It is very difficult to get published in a Scopus indexed journal, because if we are paying for that, it is a huge amount they are demanding, even 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs for publishing one paper.
Yeah.
And so that is one difficult.
Norms are not clear many a time.
Yeah.
If UGC is making that the index journal only must be considered for a promotion or the appointment, then where to index? What kind of index may not be mentioned. So
they have mentioned Scopus indexed or Web of Science. The list of indexed journals are given in this UGC guideline, 2018 guideline.
Now it's there, man. And earlier what happened now, this with UGC care, when UGC care was introduced, there were some journals having only print version included in the UGC care.
Yeah.
The people who wanted to make money identified that these journals who are not having web version, online journal. So they started the fake websites and were attracted by lots of people from
they assigned certain numbers for UGC listed number and printed in the journal. Okay. Yeah.
They used the same name of the printed journal, but later only UGC added the.
So some manipulations are also being undertaken in this field.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all familiar with it.
Yes. Anything else? Otherwise, we'll conclude. Okay, thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay.
This session was very comprehensive. You started from the scratch. That means from how to plan for a publication and then how to revisit the publication. So thank you very much. And I'm getting lots of messages in WhatsApp demanding the PowerPoint as it is very comprehensive.
Yeah, I'll share it to you.
Meanwhile, I was wondering why no response from the participants, but later I can everybody is keenly listening to your words and observing the data, the content given on your PowerPoint. So thank you very much for accepting my invitation, for being the very valuable resource person for this wonderful faculty enrichment program organized by these 4 institutions. And I hope the collaboration between these institutions and among the other institutions will be continued. And meanwhile, whenever some chances, some demand is there for your expertise to be included, I'll definitely be contacting you again, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, participants, for your patient listening.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
end this session. I'll be
Thank you,
sharing.
ma'am.
I'll be sharing the recorded version after uploading in the YouTube to the participants who could participate today. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Please share PPT also, sir. Please, sir.
Okay, I'll share.
Please.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.